वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
அப்படியே இதுல கண்டினியூ பண்ண முடியுமா? அது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 1 and 2.
ஓகே அண்ணா. विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्गनिर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं. करेक्टा? ரிப்பீட் சொல்லட்டுமா?
கரெக்ட்.
இல்ல நீங்க சொல்லி நான் ரிப்பீட் பண்றேன்.
கரெக்ட் கண்ணா. this is fine. What you chanted is right.
बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदितं प्राङ्गनिर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यः स्वेच्छया मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यः स्वेच्छया तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये।
Beautiful. Thank you. So இன்னைக்கு நம்ம வந்து third பார்க்கலாமா?
Sure.
यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्
यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्
कल्पार्थकं भासते यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्
यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्
कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान्
यो बोधयत्याश्रितान्
साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा
साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा
यो बोधयत्याश्रितान्
यो बोधयत्याश्रितान्
यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न
यत्साक्षात्करणाद् भवेन्न
पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ
पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ
यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न
यत्साक्षात्करणाद् भवेन्न
पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ
पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ
तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्
तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्
श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये
श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये
तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्
तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम्
श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये
श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये
So number first two பார்த்தோம்ல போன தடவை I think we saw the first two until the first two. So we will continue with the third one today. We'll see what we can cover. So just before we go into this, I'd like to ஒரே ஒரு தடவை நம்ம திரும்ப தட்சிணாமூர்த்தியோட அந்த ஒரு ஃபார்மை பார்த்துடலாம். Just to reorient ourselves. So this is the form that we are talking about, Leah, which is the symbol of the silent Guru. And he teaches through all the Vedas, all the Shastras, all that is known, all that is in the form of the known and all that can be known, and also the knowledge of the knower, the one who knows. All of that he teaches simply through the Chinmudra and through the silence, right? Because true knowledge can only be delivered or can be received through silence. Silence la da, in fact, namakku our experience would also be validating this. Number endha upanyasamo endha oru idukko pona kuda, it's only after the exploration or the discussion or whatever has been said, adu vandu namakkulla, when it as mananam and nididhyasanam, when it operates within us, namakkulla irukra and the silence la da namak understanding varum. Usually ipo upanyasamla yaravudhu solrana aha aha அப்படிங்கற மாதிரி வரும். அந்த இடத்துல it will suddenly நமக்கு ஏதோ ஒன்னு புரிஞ்ச மாதிரி இருக்கும். ஆஹா சூப்பரா சொல்றாரு அப்படின்லாம் தோணும். But then it will not sink in. It will be a superficial response many a times. The actual sinking in happens in our own silence. அதனால தான் spiritual journey la there are 3 steps that are critical nu solluva. Shravanam, which is to listen, read, ellame all that is part of Shravanam. Mananam is where you contemplate and mull over it. You bring it back. Every maadu vandu saapittu and the fourth stomach la it will bring it back and ruminate. That rumination process in our mind is mananam, where we try to make sense out of it. We try to understand it intellectually and establish it in our understanding. Idu vandu mananam. The third is nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam la you don't try to understand anything. You only go into that silence and experience the understanding through that silence. Because anything that we understand through the intellect will remain at the level of the mind and the intellect. Manas buddhi la mattum and layer la mattum da irukum. Which means when the manas and the buddhi becomes dull, becomes turned off, becomes deluded, then our actions will not be our actions will also be deluded, will be the actions will be out of illusion. So if you want the understanding to seep in deep inside, nididhyasanam is important. Nididhyasanam na number simple terms la meditation nu solluvom, but it is a little deeper kind of meditation where you're not just looking at, for example, you're not looking at a lamp or a jyotiya paathitu appadiye meditate pannungo illana edavadhu oru idol nyabagam vechundu meditate pannungo appadi illa. Nididhyasanam is where you're letting this knowledge sink in and you're sitting silently and you're letting that experience happen within. You are just becoming a witness. Nididhyasanam la what you do is you become a witness and you let that experience grow or mature within. Whatever that is learned, whatever that is heard, that when it matures within, that happens through the process of nididhyasanam, and nididhyasanam is silence. Yeah, so that is the silence that is represented through Dakshinamurti. So at the end of the day, the true knowledge can only be revealed in the silence of our own hearts. And the truth of solradhukaga da Dakshinamurti irukar. So he will remind constantly again and again. It is not by doing the rituals, even in fact, Adi Shankara oda Nirvana Shatakam la kuda solluvar avaru, even Vedas and Upanishads, and of course this is also mentioned in Mundaka Upanishad. Vedas, Upanishads, Vedas allame kuda apara vidya. These are all only knowledge which is of the word, the textual knowledge. The real understanding is of that Om, of Brahman. And that cannot occur through words, cannot occur through listening, cannot occur through reading. It has to occur in the silence. So, which is why Dakshinamurti oda the teaching is the highest form of teaching. It's the highest form of teaching because it reminds you constantly again and again that how much ever we study or read, of course, it's all important. Reading, studying, spending time contemplating, listening, all of that is important because only then your nididhyasanam becomes fruitful. இல்லனா நிதித்தியாசனம் சொல்லி போய் உட்காண்டோம்னா மனசுல வந்து குக்கர்ல எவ்வளவு பருப்பு வச்சிருக்கேன் தான் வரும். That is how the mind operates. It will immediately think about the next immediate thing you need to attend to. So for nididhyasanam to happen, we need to build this foundation of reading, listening, studying scriptures and all of that. But then for the real understanding to occur, we have to go into that silence whenever there is time. Namakku vandu meditation daily half an hour pannanonu vechundona or 1 hour pannonu vechundona, it is a fabulous discipline. But adu mudiyala appadingiradanaala we should not look at an excuse why we are not able to do that. நமக்கு அது நடக்க முடியல, பண்ண முடியலங்கிறது வந்து ஐயோ எனக்கு இதனால முடியல அதனால முடியலங்கிறது எக்ஸ்கியூசஸ் இருக்கு நமக்கு, because there are priorities in our daily life. But meditation doesn't necessarily have to happen in a particular way. It can happen even while for example you are working, பயங்கர பிஸியா ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம், can take 5 minutes off and go into that silence. Enoda guru, I remember this, he said this, once we know this vast ocean of silence which is inside us, once we have tasted it through the Guru's grace, through the study of the scriptures, through our sadhana and all of that, once you have tasted that there is this vast silence and vast ocean of peace within us, இது எப்படின்னா பீச்ல போய் நம்ம நிக்கர்ச்சே, பீச்ல வந்து when you're standing on the right at the place where the waters are coming in, you turn towards the other side of the city. You turn towards the city, you will see people, activities, chundal vithendrapa, balloon vithendrapa, pasanga poyendrapa, periva, all that will be happening. But you turn on this side, beach la, all you see is this vast ocean. Right? You see this beautiful ocean, complete silence, nothing there, that witnessing consciousness is there, nothing else is happening there. This experience we should be able to do within us. So we are turned towards the world of activities, world of people, world of engagement, all of that. But once in a while, we should take that time to turn inwards into that ocean of silence. And when you turn inwards into that ocean of silence, you find that the world is not running because of you. It is running despite you are there. நம்ம இருந்து கூட உலகம் ஒழுங்கா ஓடிட்டு இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வரும். Because a lot of times when we are engaged so much with the world, we think that it's extremely important that I need to remain engaged. But only when we turn a little bit into that silence within us, it's a reminder to say, hey, it's okay. You know, I need to come in touch with the core of myself, what I am truly. That is the silence that Dakshinamurti reminds us. So this is the meditation. It can be day, நாள் பூரா போயிட்டு இருக்கலாம். எங்கேயோ பஸ்ல நின்னுட்டு இருக்கோம், we are standing in the bus or sitting in the bus, whatever. You can spend 5 minutes, go into that silence. All it takes is to switch off, consciously switch off the mind, tell ourselves that I'm going to shut myself off and go into that silence which is inside me. Now in the silence, recognize பண்றதுக்கு தான் சாதனா. நிதித்தியாசனம் பண்றது, சாதனா பண்றது, daily you keeping time aside for meditation, தியானம், puja punaskaramலாம் பண்றது is to recognize that the silence is there inside me. Once you recognize, then you, during the day, you do meditation. During the day, you can continue to do meditation. Meditation can be a day-long activity. எப்போலாம் வந்து மைண்ட் வெளியில அப்படி போய் ரொம்ப அலப்பாயிருதோ, டக்குன்னு take that few moments. Even right in the midst of you, actually you should try these experiments. If you are somebody who's engaged in a lot of social gatherings and all of that, you should see it's a very beautiful experience. You might be in the midst of, for example, social gathering lo ukandirukkom, not nariya jananga irukka, people irukka, you're partying or whatever, right? Take a few moments, take 2 minutes and just sit. Let all that noise be around you, but sit silently, just chumma அப்படியே உட்கார்ந்து go within. You will see, you will feel the joy of that silence. And the silence oda impact வந்து தெரியும். அப்போ you will suddenly feel that, hey, I am not how to put this, I am not disturbed by any of this. வெளியில எவ்வளவு வேணாலும் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு, but you know, there is this beautiful silence within me. So இதெல்லாம் experiment பண்ண the more we associate ourselves with that silence within, what we'll touch upon is this, the knowledge of Dakshinamurti. Shariya. So sorry, I just got a little
the 1 and 2 லேசா கொஞ்சம் ரிவைஸ் பண்ணிடலாமா?
1 and 2 பண்ணிடலாமா? ஆமா, இன்னைக்கு அவ்வளவுதான் டைம் இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
குயிக்கா ரிவைஸ் பண்ணிடலாம்.
ஆமா, அப்புறம் 3 வந்து மேபி next week பண்ணலாம். I think it's important. நீங்க சொல்ற மாதிரி, ஏன்னா இது வந்து these are important things to kind of keep revising and revisiting.
சவணம்.
ஆமா. So first வந்து என்ன சொல்றோம், விஸ்வம் தர்ப்பண திருஷ்யமான நகரி துல்லியம் நிஜாந்தர்கதம் பஷ்யன்னாத்மனி மாயா பஹிரிவோத் பூதம் யதா நித்ரயா யஸ் சாக்ஷாத் குருதே பிரபோத சமயே ஸ்வாத்மானமேவாத்வயம் தஸ்மை ஸ்ரீ குருமூர்த்தயே நம இதம் ஸ்ரீ தக்ஷிணாமூர்த்தயே. So the first shloka says how this universe is like, how a whole city is seen in the rear view mirror. Car la நம்ம போவர்ச்சே, the whole city, when you are going past a township or a city, when you look at the rear view mirror, you will see a large part of the city appearing in the rear view mirror in a very chinnada theriyum, it will look small. So Shankaracharya says, in the same way, how in Darpana, in the mirror, how the whole city is appearing. See, the mirror physically is much smaller than the city itself. If you look at it physically, the mirror, the physical dimensions of the mirror is far more smaller than what the size of the dimensions of the city is. But then the whole city appears in the mirror layer. That's a fabulous thing. Adu madri, he says, this whole Vishwa, the whole world appears in our consciousness. Nija antargatam. And it appears in the consciousness because we saw this. Because of all the way we know the world is purely through our 5 sensory perceptions, sensory organs of perception. Because of these 5 sensory organs of perception, touch, smell, taste, sight, and hearing, sound. In the Anjanala and the Prapancham, the world is called Prapancham because it has come out of the 5. Anjile the Vandirkirdanala Prapancham. Panchana Anja Pra is produced. So in the Prapancham Apdingardu Namakku Vanda, how do we associate, how do we know the world exists is only because of these 5, through these doorways or channels of organs of perception. Idu Vanda appears, so which means when I'm touching a wall, I'm touching something on the table. The feeling of touch is on me, not on the table, not on the wall. When I'm seeing something, that is appearing in my eyes. When I'm hearing something, it's appearing, it's experienced in my ear. So the whole experience happens within me. So that is what beautifully on the first line, the whole Vishwa, the whole world, the manifest or the experienced world is actually reflected inside me. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam. Nagari eppadi nagari vanda or nagari tulyam adu madri nija antargatam. Pashyan atmani mayaya. So the whole thing is seen inside me, and how does it appear in the outside is by the with the help of Maya. Maya or concept vande ivar Bhagavad Pada introduced Panirkar. We know that. So he says through Maya, which is the Shakti of Brahman. Brahman or Shakti is Maya. So through that Shakti, Bahirivod Bhutam. So everything that is created on the outside is as though. In the term Romba use panva, Advaita Vedantathala. Iva appadina. Iva means as though, as though, as though. So Olagam irukkaradu, whatever we see, perceive is as though it is real. Similar to how we see it in our dreams. It is real as though it is real. Najama irukka? Theriyadu. It is as though it is real. Then he says the example of dream. Dream la vandu, when you are dreaming, we are experiencing it real. But அது ரியலா எழுந்து கர்ச்சி தெரியறது. ஐயோ ரியலா இருந்த மாதிரி இருந்ததே அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம். As though. So that is what he's saying. Mayaya. Mayaya is the Tritiya Vibhakti. With the help of Maya, he creates, Brahman creates everything on the outside. வெளியில இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஆனா இருக்கிறது எல்லாமே உள்ளதான். It is all in the inside. And Yatha Nidraya. So when you see in the sleep how you experience the world, in the same way this world is experienced because we are not awakened, we are still sleeping. Yas sakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanam evadvayam. So the one who wakes up to this dream, the one who wakes up to this dream and realizes that this world is not real in the way I'm experiencing it. I don't experience the world as it is. I'm experiencing it through the limited sensory perceptions, organs of perception I have. Each one experiences it differently. A lizard experiences the world very differently. Right? So what I experience the world, it's not the way it is. So the one who wakes up to this reality and he sees that everything is non-dual. Swa Atma Eva Advayam. The one who sees this non-duality, which means everything that is out there is the manifestation of this one. That one, the one presence or a manifestation in so many different ways. The one who wakes up to this reality, he is Dakshinamurti. To that Dakshinamurti, Nama idam Dakshinamurtaye namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye nama idam Dakshinamurti. So he is that Dakshinamurti. Is the first shloka. The second one is, it talks about how this whole world is appearing from as though from a seed. Bijasya antah iva ankuro. Iva vardu paranga thirumba. Iva is as though. Iva ankuro jagat idam prang nirvikalpam punaha. So which means the whole world comes from this potential form. From the potential, it takes birth into this kinetic, dynamic universe, similar to how a tree comes out of a seed. The presence of a tree in a seed can never be proven scientifically. You will have to let it manifest. Only in its manifestation the truth of the seed is there. Adhe madri, for us to know that this manifest universe is really in the seed form in us, how do we recognize it is when it's manifested. After it manifests, we realize, oh, it is manifested from within me, from within that singular principle. So that is how he, again, in the he is showing another comparison. Mela vanda mirror comparison kamichar, inga he is showing the seed comparison. And again he says Maya kalpita desha kala kalana. So which means, again, with the help of Maya, it is imagined desha kala. These are two things. Desha is space, kala is time. So number Einstein is always attributed to bring this whole idea of space and time as both relative. In nammaloda Dakshinamurti Stotrathile space time irukku. And in fact, many Vedantic texts also you'll see space and time always referred to as a relative idea. Because in Newtonian physics, time is fixed, time is constant. But the idea that time is also relative is always been there in the scripture. So desha kala kalana vaichitra chitri kritam. So this whole canvas of space and time. So if you talk about the space and time continuum, adu or canvas madri pathona, adula vandu this whole world is drawn up as a painting. Vidhamana colors vechi chitri kritam. That Brahman is done up, or Maya has done the whole painting of this universe. Mayaviva, again, Mayavi iva vijrumbhayatyapi mahayogi iva yasvechaya. Which means the Mahayogi who knows this, and this is, so who does such kinds of things? Pulling a rabbit out of a hat, pulling a ribbon out of thin air. This is done by a Mayavi na magician. The magician eppadi idu pandrano, adu madri Maya creates this whole manifest universe. Now one who understands this is a Mahayogi, and he can create his own universe swa ichchaya. So adanalada, see, we feel that we are all stuck in this world, and we are like puppets driven by some force. But a Mahayogi who has come to this unison within himself, come to this understanding that the creator resides within me, for him life moves the way he wants it to. He, again, it is not the individual he. The he there is already now aligned with the supreme consciousness. So the way life moves for this individual is not misaligned. Namakku misaligned irukku, which is why this constant struggle is there, because we want to go in a certain direction, but then nature has a certain, the way our karmic patterns and all of that, it pulls us in a certain direction. So there is this constant conflict within us. But once you realize that you have to let go and you go with the flow, go with the flow. So these are all essentially, it's not about, the idea is not about going with the flow. The idea is about alignment within. That is called dharma. Dharma is essentially complete alignment with the universal consciousness. With that understanding, once we align, then we become sensitive to the way life is moving. And then there is no conflict. The Taoism, the flow, the Tao, in fact, it's called the Tao. And it talks about human beings essentially interfere with the Tao. The Tao is essentially dharma, or the flow of things, the natural flow of things. What human beings do is we interfere with the flow of things, and which is why we create suffering and conflict for our own selves. If we let it happen in that way, like a Mahayogi, Swa Ichchaya. So now what the Mahayogi experiences is completely in his control. He knows what he's experiencing because now he has become completely sensitive to the universal consciousness. He's aligned. Such a person is none other than Dakshinamurti. So to that Dakshinamurti, Tasmai Shri Shri Gurumurtaye Namaidam, Shri Dakshinamurtaye. The first two shlokas. Okay. So we will pause here today. Next week, number 30 minutes side. Next week we'll catch up from the third shloka onwards. Om Kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami sadashivayeti samarpayami jagadambikayeti samarpayami sadgurunathayeti samarpayami. Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Shri Guru Namah. Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you very much.